Well, g'day everyone and welcome back to the channel. Alright, today we're dealing with something that's becoming a bit of a problem in the garden. A lot of overgrowth, and the last thing I want to do after spending money buying nutrients is getting rid of green waste and that sort of thing. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. Why pay money to buy the nutrients and then throw the nutrients in the bin? So I don't have a lot of space. I can't do a big sort of pallet compost or anything like that. I don't want to go out and spend a fortune, buy a compost tumbler or something like that. So what I'm doing is doing a homemade one. Pretty simple, and let's jump into it. Okay, what you can see here is a olive transport barrel. I picked it up for 15 bucks. It's a plastic food grade barrel. Comes with a screw down lid on it. It hasn't been cleaned up. You can see down there there's a grate that goes across the top here, so when they're draining the olives out, they can drain all the liquid out and keep the olives in there. The top here, the screws off. Bit of gunk in there, so we'll clean it up a little bit. I don't need to clean it up too much because it's running compost. I'm going to use another one later on and use it for a water system for the chickens, so I will need to clean that up a bit more. Alright, this is 220 litres or 55 gallons. What I'm going to do is put a bunch of holes in it because I want it nice and aerated. It's not going to form a hot compost. There's not enough volume in it to get right up to weed killing sort of heats, but it will be hot enough to break everything down. I want to do an aerobic composting method, so without any further ado, let's jump in. I'll drill some holes and get it set to go, and then we'll start into the compost section. Alright, see you in a bit. Okay, I'm just using a spade bit on a cordless drill here. 1/2 inch holes is more than big enough and stops anything from falling out. Oh folks, now we need to feed it, and as you can see I have a lot of green matter that has been pulled out of the garden. We've got tomato prunings, we've got zucchini, squash, a sunflower that has no seeds in it, and it was just getting in the way. We've got some hedge clippings, a couple little branches and that sort of thing in it. So that's our nitrogen part. Next up we need to add carbon. So we can add sawdust, which is just some sawdust left over from all my projects that I do around the place. Have some straw here, which is what I use for the bedding for the girls. We have in here dead leaves. There's also some leaf mulch, which is great because that helps to activate. So that's our carbon part. Next up, we've got to do the activation. So the leaf mulch will help with that. In here, we have chicken bedding. So that has all of the poo and everything like that, plus the straw. So that's going to give us a pretty good balance in and of itself. That will compost by itself, but that mixed in with the rest of it will give us some good compost. Now, as you can see, I've clipped down the grass on the nature strip, done that with a catcher on, and all the grass from there, because it was weedy, because I deliberately let it go to weeds so to bring the bees in. Because it's weedy, that's just gone straight out to the girls, and they'll scratch through any weeds that poke up. They're gonna eat them. So now I can go through with the mower with the catcher on, and I do not recommend you do this with someone else's mower. In fact, I don't recommend you do it at all. I do it because I've got a solid bar mower, and I'm the one who sharpens it, and if anything goes wrong, well, it's my fault, so bad luck. But yeah, don't do it at home. So basically I'm going to throw my carbon on top of here, and then I'm going to go through with the mower and I'm going to shred it up. Ideally you want to use an electric shredder or something like that. I don't have one. I do have a big hefty mower, so I'm just going to use that to chop everything up. So we'll chop it all up, mix it all up, which the mower's going to do for me, and then it's going to go in the barrel. So let's go ahead with that. Alright folks, here we are a couple days later. Unfortunately, in the good old world of content creation, videos do not work sometimes. You miss the whole scene of me adding the carbon material on top and chopping everything up. But here we are a couple days later, and we shall have a look. As you can see, there's a little bit of steam coming up. We've got a few insects buzzing around in there. That's fine. It's warm to the touch, and so it means it's starting to break down, and it's damp. There comes that steam. So it's damp. I've dampened it right down. You want it damp enough so that it's going to be damp to the touch. You want to have it almost to the point where you can wring water out of it, you know, which this is just about perfect. You know, if I squeeze it, there's no more moisture coming out, but I can certainly feel the moisture between the fingers. So that is about perfect. Now what I'm going to add to it now, as you can see the volume's down a bit. I've got a waste product that I picked up at the same place I picked up my barrel. This here is the husk of coffee beans. So when they roast the beans, these are the husks that come off it. And trust me, it smells really good for a coffee drinker. Now coffee is a bean. It does contain nitrogen, so these husks should be pretty much a good balance. I'm just going to add some in. I want to bring the level up in here, probably to about 2/3 full. It was 2/3 full when I packed it in the other day, but it's already come down a little bit. So I'm going to add some of these coffee husks in. I'll bring it up to about 2/3 full. I want to leave some room in it because it is a tumbler, and I want it to be able to tumble around and everything to get mixed in. All right, well, I'll tip these in and show you again in a second. Okay, there we are, tipped in all the way up the height. I'll obviously need to add some more moisture because they were a dry product that I was putting in there. But for now, let's just get the lid on it. There we go, all sealed up. And I want to mix it through. As you can see, a little bit of the husk flies out of the holes, but I'm not too worried about that. And this is basically how I tumble my compost. Give it a kick with a boot. A few rolls over. Back to the spot that we started from. And I just normally leave it laying down, and as I said, probably about 2-3 weeks, that should be at the stage where I can lay it on the garden. It's not going to break down fine enough to be a soil additive, but it will be down fine enough to be a top feed for the garden. So we will have a look at it in a couple of weeks time and see where it's at. Alright, thank you very much everyone for watching, and bye for now.